The idea was that you get your anchor tenants, your national credit tenants, you get them to sign a lease, and then you sell it. But you now have this money that you got to put back to work. So it's a cycle that forces itself. So people are like, well, why does there continue to be sprawl? Well, the whole economic system is based on that, right? There is a great book. It's called The Inversion of Wealth, or the Great Inversion of Wealth and the Future of the American City. And what it said was basically like, we're following the European cities. We're just 100, 150 years late to the table. And so as wealth is starting to come back into the core, what happened is there's all these neighborhoods that exist, but an artist or a retailer would come in and drop something that's cool. And then someone would come in next to them, and that's cool, right? And so then someone goes, well, I want to live next to that because I want to walk to that. And so they go buy this home that was really undervalued, right? And they fix it up, and now they're close to all this stuff. Whereas housing led the way in the 60s, retail was leading the way in the 2000s. And so it really creates a complicated system for banks and appraisers and the financial markets, because they're looking at, for 50 years, our whole economic system has been based this way. And now you're coming in and you're flipping it on its head with, like, there's no comps, there's all this stuff that doesn't make sense. You got a tenant who only has one location, and you think this is better than, a Little Caesars. And they're going through all these questions and they can't figure it out. That's what has, like, we walked into from a development standpoint. So at our core, we have said we're going to build to hold. We want to chase asset appreciation. So we want the buildings we redevelop to be worth more in the future than they are today. And we're going to chase cash flow. And we're going to do it, and our values fit into that, where we want to do it with excellence. We want to be resilient, but we also want to be joyous disruptors. And so that means that we're hopefully we're joyous disruption. Typically, when we see things that are broken, we either use paternalism, so we're like, they're not smart enough to see it, so I'm going to come in and help them. Or we're going to use shame and guilt. And we're going to say, you're such an idiot. Like, why don't you see it? And we've said, well, we're going to try to be passionate about what we're doing. And if you want to come be a part of our story, we would love it, because we're actually joining someone else's story. This isn't like our story. We're a part of someone else's story. And so let's just go on and go do it. And so that fits into real estate. It impacts where we develop, how we develop, who we develop with, and how we think about the communities that we're impacting.